What's up, everybody? John here. Airbnb is always listening to us, and they're getting our feedback from the ambassador program to all you guys chiming on Twitter and social media and all that good stuff. So there is the Winter Update 2022, November 16th, and there is a bunch of amazing updates. And in this video, I'm gonna highlight a handful of updates that I really like, and I'm gonna ask two of my ambassador host friends what they think. So stay tuned. So just a quick recap, and you guys can skip through the videos as much as you want, but I gotta go to the Airbnb headquarters and I got to get one-on-one training with all of these updates. I've been holding a tight secret as long as I possibly can, but Airbnb walked through all the updates, all the feedback they were getting from everybody. And to be honest, I think Airbnb really listened, and I really like a lot of these updates. Now, I'm really curious to get my hands on it and really start playing with it. I am also, make sure you guys always tune in and subscribe, because I'm going to be giving you guys all kinds of insights. I have a beta version of all the updates, so I've been playing around with a lot of these updates for like 2 or 3 weeks before they even launch, just to get more familiar with it. So you're at the right source. All this information I'm giving it to you is exclusive. Well, it's out now, but you know what I mean. Airbnb is always changing. They're always trying to update and improve, but some of the host upgrades, super cool. Even more air cover. So air cover now is $1 million protection of insurance. They are gonna cover up to $3 million in air cover now. That's amazing, but don't let that fool you. Please make sure you still get insurance. If you own the home, protect yourself as much as you can. Airbnb is upgrading this to $3 million, like I said, which is amazing, but don't just rely on that. I use Proper Insurance, link below. They are the best in the industry when it comes to protecting yourself with short-term rental insurance. Easier to file a claim. Yeah, we'll see about that one. I'm going through it right now. It's such a pain in the to file a claim. You have to get all your photos, your estimates, your invoices, you're going back and forth with the guest, and then all of a sudden Airbnb is like, oh no, you didn't file your claim in time, or you filed it wrong, or this is not acceptable. And they just don't tell you anything. I just did this whole process. It was like $1,300, and Airbnb denied my claim for no reason. I have no idea. So easier to file a claim. What I've been told and what I saw a little preview is it's a way easier format to file your claim. You can watch the progress, you can see any updates. I think there's gonna be a chat feature in there too. So I'm really curious. Hopefully I don't have to file a claim anyways, but if I do, I'm really curious to see how that works out. If you guys have to file a claim, let me know how it works. Now, I love this one, guest identity verification. Now, it doesn't sound like a big deal, but there's a lot of guests with fake IDs that maybe they've been kicked off the platform before, maybe they have criminal records. In Arizona, we have to do sex offender background checks. So Airbnb is going to upgrade their entire screening process on guests. Now, they don't tell us exactly all the details of what they do, but what I'm told is by the state of Arizona, if you're a registered sex offender and you go on Airbnb, you're probably gonna get flagged because we have to know that as a host in Arizona. So I'm assuming that's what the identity is. I think they're also, every single guest that goes on the platform, it's gonna be a lot more thorough and really check in to make sure the guests are who they say they are. I'm super excited about that. I still use Superhawk, link below. It's like a super extra security blanket for myself. But I love the idea that Airbnb is stepping up their identity verification process. Reservation screening. So major holidays, huge sporting events, last minute bookings, that kind of stuff. I think Airbnb is gonna have a way stronger algorithm to flag those unwanted parties, guests, nuisance, all that kind of stuff. I don't really know too much about that because I can't really play with that one, because I have to get a request in. It's like I said, I had the beta, but I'm really excited to see this, because if it's like a major event and 8 people trying to book the house, no one has reviews, the questions are kind of weird, whatever. So I'm curious to see how this one works, but I do like the idea of it, reservation screening. Ground rules for guests. Mind blowing, right? We're gonna finally start educating the guest what is responsible on the guest side when they're booking an Airbnb. I don't know what it is lately. Guests just think if they're booking an Airbnb, they can get away with whatever they want. Whatever they want is the right, and us hosts have to do whatever it takes to make them happy because we're gonna get a bad review. That's not how it is. Us hosts have certain state laws, different policies, neighbors, all kinds of stuff, things that we have to worry about. So we have house rules, like no noise past 10 p.m. outside, whatever it is. And we expect our guests to obey by those. What this means is Airbnb is educating the guest a lot more. I'm also told if a guest breaks those rules and me as a host will call Airbnb, complain, let them know, we'll file it. Airbnb will dock a point or a star or whatever you want to call it on the back end of that guest profile. If they get 2 of them, they'd be kicked off the platform completely, which would be awesome. I believe it's 2. I was told it was 2. But then guests know that. Guests know that they can get suspended, they can get fined, they can get kicked off the platform and whatnot. So I'm hoping this is a really good idea and Airbnb is gonna have better guests, way better guests, because that's kind of the problem. There is bad hosts, but there's also very bad guest. So let's go call my friend Brindy. Brindy is a Superhost ambassador. I went to Airbnb with her. We got all these updates together. So I just kind of wanted to ask her opinion. Let's go see what she has to say. What's up? Like I said, I got my really good friend, crazy Superhost, amazing super ambassador, Brindy. Her and I went to Vegas together, and then we actually got to go to the Airbnb office together. So I'll have her do a quick intro, but I got a couple good questions for her. Brindy, introduce yourself to everybody.
Awesome. Yep. My name is Brindy, and my business is Brindy. So I am property manager, also have my own portfolio of properties, and also help other people get started with Airbnb.
And you might recognize her once before too, because she was like my first YouTube, maybe second YouTube on the channel. So
that's right.
Yeah, some design tips. So that was cool. But right. As you guys know, Airbnb did a huge update. So I wanted to ask other hosts what they thought. And a couple of the items that we chose or talked about with Brindy is categories. Big topic. How do you feel about categories? Is there ones that are sticking out to you? Like, what do you think?
Yep. Well, super excited for this update because I think when Airbnb initially launched the categories, that was exciting, but hosts were also left wondering, well, how do we know where we appear? How do we know how to use this to actually optimize our properties? So I think what's really exciting about this update is now guests are going to have a little more visibility into where which categories are being featured under, which more visibility is always good news for hosts. And so also gives hosts the opportunity to, if they're not being featured in a category that they'd like to be, maybe there'll be more opportunity for hosts to figure out how to make that happen. And yeah, I think that's going to make it a lot easier to get the right listing seen by the right guest.
Yeah. And then the other big topic lately has been, which in the news like crazy, I've talked about it, you've talked about it on your Instagram, is cleaning fees, the overcharging of cleaning fees. Not only that, giving like a massive list of things to do for guests to check out. But they just launched display pricing. How do you feel about that? You want to explain that a little bit? What your thoughts are on that?
Yep. I think it's a step in the right direction again, because it's giving hosts a little more visibility into what their guests are seeing, what their guests are paying. And that starts the relationship off on the right foot where, if your guest feels like what they're seeing is what they're getting all the way through the entire process of booking your place and then staying at your place, they're more likely to have an enjoyable experience, more likely to give you a good review. And yeah, I know myself traveling as a guest, it's frustrating when cleaning fees feel too high and too expensive. I also think it's super important to pay your cleaning team what they deserve, and it needs to make sense. But I think having more visibility into how much the cleaning fee is going to add on to the total price is good news, because it gives hosts the opportunity to be a little bit more upfront about that. And I think it discourages people from profiting off of the cleaning fee, which I think is good. I think it should just be a pass-through fee. And so I think this will encourage hosts to make the cleaning fee a pass-through fee and not something that is being that they're profiting off of. And yeah, along with the same update is just more when people are searching, when guests are searching now, it's going to be easier for guests to see what the total price is, and including the cleaning fee and the nightly rate. And I think I know as a guest, that has been frustrating for me. And so I think that can only result in more bookings for hosts to have that a little bit more clear.
You heard it from Brindy. Stay tuned.
That's right.
Thanks, Brindy, for jumping on here. Appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks, John. Yep. Love being here.
Where can people find you?
Yep. So Instagram at Airbnb, and I have my website, www.airbnb.com. And yeah, reach out.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Cool.
Okay. Bye.
Okay. Another item they did is called more details in reviews of guests. It's pretty cool. So now when a guest is getting reviewed, there's a lot more things you can check off on the guest review side of things. Not only that, as a host, when a guest gets a review, you can tap on that guest and look at all the other breakdowns of that guest review. Maybe they were really clean, but they were really loud. And maybe you can see that now in the review process, and then you have a better idea of the type of guests you're going to get. I love this. I think it will make guests be a little bit more amazing. Yeah, flat out. Also, you guys, don't forget, if you need help with all of this stuff, I know Airbnb is always updating, making changes, all that stuff. You know who to reach out to. I am an official Airbnb ambassador. They have a massive update when it comes to Ask a Superhost. Excited to be a part of that. But if you have any questions, use my link below. You guys will be connected. All new hosts get to use this. It's 100% free. And then I will be able to help you with all of your questions, concerns, and look at your listing before you go live and just help you like a mentor. And it's all free. So use the link below. This one's pretty cool. It's called Fast Pay. I personally don't think I would use this all too much, but I love the option. So let's say it's at the end of the month and you got a booking and you just really need that money really quick to help pay the mortgage and the bills or whatever it is. Maybe Airbnb recognize that and you could do a thing called fast pay, meaning Airbnb I think will take like 10 or 15% and they'll pay you right away within a few hours of that booking. Normally it takes like 2 to 3 days after the guest checks in. So now after the guest checks in, you can do fast pay. You can probably get the money in 2 to 3 hours, it sounds like, which is really cool. Excited to see how that works, but it sounds cool. I don't know if I personally would use that too much, but it sounds amazing. View your category. This was a huge topic. Airbnb did the big announcement where they did categories. Now, there's been a complete like opposite of what people think about categories. Me personally, I still like categories a lot. I think it's just taking time for people to get used to it. I think people will get used to it. But anyways, as a host, one thing I don't like is not knowing where my house sits. What category is my house going to be under? So now you can assign your house to a category. So if you're like a tiny home, you can click that it's a tiny home. If you have an ice sculpture in the middle of nowhere, you can probably click on ice sculpture. If you're a brand new listing, that might just automatically pop up in the brand new listing. I have a desert casita. Maybe under the categories, I will be able to hit desert casita. Not only that, you'll be able to view your category that you're in. So once Airbnb automatically places it, you'll be able to see. Like I said, if I'm a casita in a desert, I will be able to go look under my settings and it should say casita desert. Super cool. Really looking forward to seeing this work. I gotta see a little bit of the new categories, but really excited to see this work. And they did new Airbnb categories. Amazing new categories. I have the beta version, been playing around with it. I think categories are pretty much gonna be the way of the future. So a couple of the new ones that I noticed is new. So if it's a brand new listing, that will pop up. I like that idea. Top of the world, trending. So if your place is trending, you're getting a ton of traffic. So someone like me that's maybe like always marketing my listing on other platforms or website or social media or whatever and driving it to Airbnb, maybe Airbnb will notice that and push me in the trending. Play. Do you have like a bunch of games, killer backyard, over the top backyard, that kind of stuff? that's really cool because we always go all out on our backyards. And if you go and look at this category, you'd be blown away by some of these backyards. So that's just a few of them. I highly suggest you guys go and check out all these updates for yourself. I'll leave a link down below so you guys can like dive into it yourself. Now, I made a video on my reels about this on my Instagram, go follow that. But they also have a couple other handful of updates. It's called display total price to simplify the checkout. Now, this is on the guest side of things. So a lot of the confusion, which I'm confused also sometimes. But when I'm looking at a place, let's say it says $200, I'm like, oh, sweet, $200. And then I click on it and it's like $200 for cleaning, $200 for the service and all this other stuff. And then all of a sudden it's like a ton more money than I didn't really calculate or expect. So that's been a big problem with Airbnb. So guests can click on a little toggle and it's gonna show display total price. This is very, very cool. Should be super easy for guests to see the total price of what it's gonna cost before they go all the way to the checkout page. All right, let's jump in and go ask my good friend Caitlin, who is also a part of the ambassador program. She's amazing. I'll let her introduce herself and then she's gonna talk a little bit about some insights of what she feels about the updates. What's up? Okay, I'm super excited to finally get you on the channel. I feel like we've been working together on the Ask a Superhost Ambassador for like over a year now.
Yeah, probably like 2 years-ish. It's
so cool.
So I started hosting in 2015, purchased my first home. I moved in, so it was my primary residence, just started hosting a private bedroom and I fell in love with it. I'm such a people person. I loved just having travelers come to me and just designing unique and inviting spaces. And I was like, you know what, I want to do this all the time. So I moved out to California to pursue that dream, which quickly manifested itself. I ended up co-hosting 10 different properties there in San Diego. And I eventually decided that I wanted to actually work for Airbnb. So I moved up to San Francisco and I got a job at the global headquarters working for Airbnb Plus, which is how I first heard your name.
I really wanted to get her on here because Airbnb has a ton of updates on the ambassador program, a ton of updates on guests, a ton of updates on hosting. And it's a lot to digest, and I love getting other people's perspectives. And I would love to see what you think about some of the updates. Are there ones that like really stick out to you that you can't wait to like dive into more? Or yeah, I'm just so curious to hear what you think.
The thing that I'm most excited about is just them continuing to ramp up the Ask a Superhost program. Like, clearly we both are very involved and love that program. It's totally changed our lives. It's definitely changed my life. And they are putting just so much love and resources into this. And we really learned about this when we went to the summit a couple weeks ago in San Francisco. But they are just bringing it to a whole new level, it seems. Like in the search algorithm, the lower priced spaces are going to be up higher, which I'm curious to see like how that affects everything.
I was just having a conversation.
It'll probably just make us all more competitive.
Well, I appreciate your time. I know you're very busy and people can join your webinar anytime. Check out her link. I'll put it below. She's amazing. But thank you for your time and giving us some powerful knowledge. I think there are a lot of people can learn from this. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure chatting with you.
Always. All right, this video is going to be long. It is long already, I know it. There's a bunch of other updates I won't get into because this video will be 7 hours. But there's a bunch of updates on the Ask a Superhost, Ask an Ambassador. So make sure you check that out as well. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that video. If there's certain topics in the video that you want me to jump more into, like the categories or pricing or stuff like that, just let me know in the comments below. I will dive a deeper dive into more of those updates. Hopefully the audio sounds better for you guys. The lighting's getting a little better and whatnot, but make sure you like, subscribe, tell your friends, all that good stuff. And I will see you next time.